Hello and welcome to today's new moon somatic oracle reading. This is for the Aquarius new moon that falls on the 9th of February. So with this energy of Aquarius, what is coming through is focusing on the water bearer, and there is the question of whether or not the water bearer is actually, if he has water in the vessel, or whether it is actually air, especially because Aquarius is an air sign. And so this new moon is really asking you to tap into what you know to be your higher knowledge, because there's so much knowledge that we can have access to, but we also come into this life with our own innate knowledge from various lifetimes, or even ancestral information that we just naturally have access to if we allow ourselves to actually trust our gut. And so this Aquarius new moon is really asking you to trust yourself and to trust that you have the information for all the new beginnings that you are bringing into your life, all the new things you are trying to start, all the new chapters and doors that you really need to open. You have the knowledge, you have the information, and it's up to you to access it, because gone are the days of us, as I was saying in my full moon reading for Leo, for the energy of Leo, gone are the days of us outsourcing our power and constantly looking to others for confirmation, because everything is interconnected here, especially in this realm. We all have the capacity to know and to see and to hear and to feel. And so it's up to us to attune ourselves to the information that is already around us, very much like dialing the radio. If you allow yourself to be quiet, you will hear the energy, you will hear the information that is literally, it's not even like right next to you, like we are in it. It's the field, it's whatever you want to call it. So just as the divine is always accessible, it's just about whether or not you are opening your ears and your eyes to really hear and see the messages of the divine, and to remember that you are divine within yourself, and you really don't need any confirmation. You really don't need anyone's approval. So really trust your own higher knowledge, and whatever direction you are being pulled to go into, just trust that that is where you're really meant to go right now, even if it doesn't make a lot of sense. So the cards we have are Shadow and Light. So us being here in this physical realm, we love the topic of duality. So ultimately, as I said, everything is connected. So as much as you want to think things are really just defined in one way, it all comes to one in the end. However, there's times to pull from our shadow, and there's times to hone what our own light is, because giving into duality completely, all it does is divide. And so it's better to understand something from a holistic level, from all angles, and to really integrate all of it, than to just simply single something out and say, this is really just one way, or it's really just the other way. So connecting with the parts of you that can coexist together. Maybe some parts are of the light, maybe some parts are more of the shadow, but it really makes up your entire being. And so giving love to all the parts of you and seeing that within others, because Aquarius is the energy of the collective. And so how are we serving humanity also? How are we integrating our understanding from a holistic view of humanity and ultimately our collective evolution? Because as much as we want to bring things to the light, it's not always that straightforward. The card we have to follow is Darkness, which feels quite fitting because, again, as much as we want to believe that everything can just be of the light, going towards the light, there are certain cycles of energy that have to play out, and it's simply just an expression of the way energy wants to move. So we don't need to judge ourselves, but we do need to take responsibility. And wherever we are able to make a choice, we simply make that choice. And if we are not able to make a choice, if we are not able to take any action, then at the very least we can just accept that this is the way it is right now, and through that acceptance, knowing that power can be garnered from that place. When we are in acceptance, we are not fighting anymore. We are in a powerful state of surrender. The next card we have is Charles of Water. So Charles is really asking us to go with the flow, to get out of our own way, to move around the obstacles, just the way a river moves. If there are rocks, the water will go around the rocks. And so how are you flowing? And again, Aquarius is known as an air sign, but what is in the vessel? Is it air? Is it water? I mean, both are very fluid, but both have different frequencies. Water is more about our emotions. Air is more about knowledge, communication, ideas. So yes, it's an air sign, but as with all things being human, we have so much emotion tied to virtually everything we do. And so how do we allow ourselves to be fluid? Like, to truly be fluid? Because in the day-to-day, we can get so rigid, especially when there are obstacles. It really demands a lot sometimes to just let go and be in the flow, because we want control. We want things to go a certain way, and when they don't, we get annoyed, we get angry. So being in the flow, surrendering to the flow of life, is such a power move. And perhaps the more you are in resistance to going with the flow will be the direct correlation in which you reap the rewards of going with the flow. Now, whatever those rewards are, I cannot say, because, you know, we are dealing with energy at the end of the day. So going with the flow might be opening yourself up to new ideas, instead of having access to something that you normally would, that would bring you comfort, let's say, like material comfort. You don't have access to that. So what can you do? Well, you can just sit there. Just sit there in silence and listen to the wind as it moves through the trees. Watch the birds outside of your window. Like, look at nature and see how nature moves, because nature is nature is flow, and we are of nature. So allowing ourselves to move in the state of flow, and to really allow ourselves to be light, to move with ease, that really shifts a lot. The next card we have is community, which is extremely fitting. As mentioned, Aquarius is the sign of the collective. And so how are we allowing ourselves to be supported? Are we allowing ourselves to just grow stagnant in isolation, thinking that no one cares, and not reaching out? I mean, there's so many things, there's so many stories that we can tell ourselves about why people don't get back to us, why this doesn't happen. Really and truly, people are going through their own shit, and it's not always about us. So reach out to that person who you think isn't getting back to you for XYZ, when really they have something actually going on and they might need you to reach out. So allowing ourselves to be supported whilst also being proactive with how we support others. Everyone keeps talking about a loneliness epidemic of our time globally. This feels like it's more prevalent in the Western world, but I could be wrong. So why is it? Why is it that we're all so lonely? There are so many people on the planet, more than there ever have been. And yet, so many people are lonely. Why is that? Why are we not connecting on a real level? Is it that our hearts are closed? Is it that we're not making time? What is it? So with the energy of this new moon, ask yourself, where is your sense of community? If you have a sense of community, be grateful for that. Celebrate that, because that is extremely powerful, and ultimately, in a way, it's all we have as humanity here. We have one another. So on that very primitive level, on that very instinctual level, community is so important. And I know it can be difficult because we can feel misunderstood, we can feel disconnected. But, you know, sometimes we have to get out of our comfort zone if we want to have these things that don't come naturally to us, even if they once did come naturally to us. So connecting with the aspect of community in your life and really asking yourself how you can support more, how you can serve humanity more. The next card we have is Shackles. And Shackles is really asking you, what is holding you to a place of being limited? What is keeping you in a place that you know you have outgrown, that is beyond stagnant? And these are self-imposed shackles, I would say. It's not so much about entities holding you or just, you know, being very heavy in your energy field. We can shackle ourselves by our destructive habits, by our limiting beliefs, by the stories we tell ourselves that have no basis at all. Those are all shackles. So as you come into this new moon energy of Aquarius, examine where you are keeping yourself stuck and take the action to move forward. Break the habits, break the limiting beliefs, break the destructive thought patterns that, oh, I can't do this, I can't have this, I can't achieve this. Like whatever it is that keeps you small and limited, you need to break out of it. And the last card, which is very fitting, is Migrate. So where are you being called to go? Once you go through this energy, where are you being called to go? Whether it's physically, are you being called to move somewhere? Energetically, are you being called to bring in new energy, to start a new practice? What is the energy, or what is coming up that is asking you to move? It could be a new job, new relationship, or it could be actually, instead of just everything new, it could just be tweaking something to create movement. So let's say in a relationship, you don't necessarily have to leave the relationship or end the relationship and be with someone new. You could just shift something in the dynamic that ends up being the thing to actually bring the relationship to a place where you both are happy and you both are fulfilled. Same as within a job. Maybe you really don't need a new job. Maybe there's just something in the dynamic of your co-workers or your boss that just needs some slight movement that will create a ripple effect of the actual change that everybody needs and wants. So there's really a lot of movement with this Aquarius new moon, and it makes sense because we are also coming into the Chinese New Year, and it's the year of the dragon, and is definitely bringing in dynamic energy, creative energy. So this is the energy to call in. And but sometimes to get there, we really have to examine the parts of us that really keep us stuck, really keep us small, and really just keep us shackled to things that are really easy to shift at the end of the day if we just take the time and we sit honestly with ourselves. So this was the oracle portion. So now we are going to move on to the somatic portion of the reading. For anyone watching that will not stay for the somatic portion, I hope that this was useful for you. I hope that it offers you guidance and insights for this new moon that we are in. So let us move on to doing the somatic portion. So we are going to start on the side of our hands, and I am going to say statements out loud. I encourage you to repeat after me and follow along. If there is anything I say that doesn't feel right, that you don't want to say, just rephrase it, or you don't have to say it. But I do encourage you to follow along and actually say the statements out loud. Connecting with the shadow and light aspects of myself. Allowing myself to go deep into my shadow and light. Allowing myself to lovingly examine the duality within myself. Calling in the integration of the shadow and light within myself. Allowing myself to examine any parts of my being that are otherwise divided and or fractured. Connecting with both the dark and light aspects of myself. Bringing both aspects into wholeness. Accepting both the shadow and light within myself. Understanding that both aspects have their own inherent wisdom. Allowing myself to pull from this wisdom. allowing both aspects to integrate fully in all directions of space and time. Connecting with the darkness within and without. Connecting with the inevitability of darkness. Connecting with the divine mystery that lies within the darkness. Allowing ourselves to look within the darkness. To connect with the primordial energy of spirit. To float in the abyss. The absence of all. The cosmic void, where from all things are born and all things return. From where all possibilities are born. The sacred darkness. Allowing ourselves to connect with the darkness. Without fearing it, simply from a place of wanting to expand and venture into the unknown. Connecting with our capacity to flow. Allowing ourselves to be fluid. To shift and move as necessary. Connecting with our flow state. So that we may perceive all that is. So that we may move with all that is. So that we may awaken the flow of divinity within us. So that we may be at ease. Allowing ourselves the path of least resistance. As we connect with our higher selves, our highest octaves, our highest states of being. To fully connect and integrate in all directions of space and time. Connecting with our sense of community. Asking ourselves, what does community mean to me? What are the ways in which I support and allow myself to be supported. Connecting with the energy of community in my life. Allowing myself to accept physical help in this earthly realm. To allow myself to be seen by others. Connecting with the aspect of me that knows how to unconditionally serve humanity. With love, understanding, and acceptance. Welcoming in the energy of community. Integrating this supportive energy in all directions of time and space. If you can, I encourage you to drink water after each round of tapping to really help move the energy. Because a lot can come up when we're doing this somatic work in ways that completely surprise us. So drinking water just allows everything to flow and settle, and it's just very supportive for the nervous system. connecting with what may be keeping us small. What may be keeping us stagnant. The habits that we need to change. Connecting with the energy of shackles. Where in life are we shackled? Where in life are we held back by illusions? Connecting with our power to break these shackles. To elevate ourselves, to free ourselves, for freedom is divine birthright. Freedom is our divine birthright. Releasing ourselves from any and all things that do not serve in all directions of space and time. Connecting with the energy of movement. Allowing ourselves to receive the information of where our soul needs to go. Knowing that the only constant is change. Connecting with our soul's natural rhythm. Connecting with our intuition. Trusting the paths laid out before us. Trusting the new road that our soul wishes to venture upon. Remembering that we are indeed on an eternal journey. Where the only real direction is one of expansion. And so we welcome this expansion. Allowing ourselves the grace to migrate as needed for our highest good, our highest evolution. In all directions of time and space. And so it is. Thank you for sharing this somatic journey with me. It's always so interesting to see what comes up intuitively with the messages of the cards, and then how that translates to what the body needs to receive, and in turn what the body communicates. So I hope that you feel refreshed and grounded after this somatic session. But if there is anything that has been brought up that was either triggering or something that you didn't realize you needed to look at, I implore you to take this time to really sit with it, understand it, maybe do some more tapping around it, and really follow your intuition somatically on what you need. If your body wants to move a certain way, just go with it. Don't question it, even if it doesn't make any sense. The body has its own intelligence, and we often forget that. So also taking anything that came up and sitting with it during the full moon, during the new moon, and doing whatever you need to do, whether you need to journal or write a letter to your past self, to your future self, anything that you feel will intuitively help you to integrate these messages. give yourself the space to do so on this new moon, because we are going into a new chapter, like always. So thank you so much for being here. I hope this resonated. I hope it was useful, and I'm sending you love and blessings, and I will see you next time.